Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hello, everybody. Wait, what?
You can't do that. You can't do that. You're messing it up. You're... My bad.
Go ahead, say it.
No, it's
Say
fine.
it.
It's fine. It's really fine. It's fine.
No, I don't even really want to say it.
I don't know. I don't want to say it either. You know, I'll just do it though, because you know, like it's my channel and stuff. So I guess I'll do it. You know, if you don't want to say it though, I guess I'll say it. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the final episode of Dawg Talk ever.
Ever?
Yeah, you really did that on the final episode, Ethan. You really messed up like that.
Look, man, I didn't know it was the last one ever.
Yeah, it's the last one ever. There's never ever gonna be another Dawg Talk after this.
The fans are jumping.
They're jumping with joy. They're like, finally, I can't wait to get rid of this. This show has been feeding my my subscription feed. It's been showered in Dawg Talk episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. Finally, it'll be over.
Speaking of episode 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think we should look at them.
You're right. So if you guys don't know, if you haven't been up to date with the Dawg Talk zeitgeist, I guess is the correct term, but we have been uploading season 2 of Dawg Talk since July 30th, 2024. And if you don't know why we have a season 2, it's because we did a season 1 a while back in, like, what years was that? Like 20...
Like 20, 21,
20, I think 21 to 22. I think we recorded like 6 episodes. Yeah. And we took like really long month breaks. And in this first episode of Dawg Talk, we discussed those episodes. And I don't think we had it all figured out yet of like how we're going to format season 2.
No, but we did. We definitely did better with season 2 than we did season 1.
For sure.
I will say.
Yeah.
Season 1 was kind of a mess. At least this time we had like a consistent schedule and like a consistent style.
Mm-hmm. So, I think we changed a little bit over time. Like, I'm seeing now in this first episode, we have like a little intro card, and then we just kind of have one picture on each segment. I think that stays the same for a while, though.
Yeah. I mean, it does help that it wasn't like you would edit some and then you'd be like, wait, I have a new way I want to try editing. And then I would edit like one of them and I'd be like, hold up. I actually have never edited anything in my life, so I'm going to edit this crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to edit this crazy, and it's a podcast, so no one's going to freaking look at it. I don't know. I feel like, at least in my head, sometimes it's felt lazy the way we formatted season 2, where it's just pictures. But as we say in this video, it's people don't.
Podcast.
It's a
no
podcast.
One's watching.
Yeah.
You don't watch you put a podcast on when you're like driving or when you're like doing something else, and it's just there as like background noise. You're not watching it. You don't like no one watches them, and if you are watching it, it's just like, oh, here's Cam A and Cam B of the podcast hosts looking at each other and talking, and it's like, well, are you watching that? Like, why do you even need to see that?
No. Sometimes, honestly, I get angry when I'm watching video podcasts and they start referencing something that someone's doing in real life, and I can't see it because my phone is on the other side of, like, my house. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know what they're doing over there. Now I gotta pause the video, go look at it so I can have context, because they're going to talk about it for like 10 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really get the whole video podcast. I mean, I get it, but I feel like to do a video podcast, you can't really do visuals too much, because then like half, if not more, of your audience is going to be alienated because they're listening, they're not watching.
Yeah. That's what, like, yeah.
Yeah, episode 1 of Dawg Talk's season 2 is going over all the junk we're saying right now, kind of, oh yeah, this is what was wrong with season 1 of Dawg Talk, and why it was so evil.
Yeah. And
it was like the first time I think, recorded anything that's not like on the Canon camera that Emil uses to make his videos, like since the last time I made a YouTube video.
That's crazy. And you don't make YouTube videos a lot now.
No, I don't really do them anymore.
Yeah. But so I think our idea for season 2 was that we were gonna make like behind the scenes videos on Poodawg3 projects and stuff. So we did the first one on Dawg Talk, and then we did the second one is on the hardest scenes we ever filmed in the Poodawg3 movies. So we went movie by movie and talked about the hardest scene that there was to film for each of these. And I think that one went pretty well.
Yeah, I think the Poodawg3 ones, I think they both went pretty good. And that's probably more of the direction we should have kept the podcast is like, because that's kind of specific and it appeals to like the audience you already have.
Mm-hmm. The only issue with that was that we wouldn't bring in new viewers, and I think that's what I was worried about at the beginning of us doing this. Was like, no new people won't join in.
Also, the issue with talking about only Poodawg stuff is Poodawg's really not that big.
No.
And there's not that much to talk about. After like 10 episodes, we probably would have been like, maybe we can like maybe plan out the next Poodawg movie on Dawg Talk. Or something. Like,
I think that was an idea.
Making stuff up.
I think that was an idea for one of them one time.
Like, because there's only like so much you can talk about with Poodawg.
Yeah.
And especially because we already had the director's commentaries on do I call it Poodawg Plus or Poodag?
It's Podag. Podag or Poodawg Plus. I don't know. We're in kind of like a weird phase right now. Everything's changing around us.
But yeah, on that channel, there's pretty much another podcast where Emil and whoever else he decides to have as a guest, but it's usually just him, goes over like a specific movie and talks about like basically what was happening with this movie, like what the intent was for every scene. So that kind of takes a lot of the stuff you could talk about with a Poodawg related podcast away when there's already another series specifically for that.
Yeah, so if we wanted to go movie by movie, I suppose we could, but we'd just be reiterating the stuff I have on the other channel. And I want people to watch like both channels. I don't want them just to watch one, not the other. So our way of fixing this is we moved on to episode 3, which is where we tried to turn this, instead of making it a Poodawg-oriented podcast, we made it a movie-oriented podcast, and we did a review of Muppets from Space.
I think the viewers didn't like it, though, because...
No.
Or maybe this is just how podcasts work. The first episode, like, each episode drops by, like, 30 views.
Yeah.
So Muppets from Space, I guess, like you said, the idea was just, we should do movie stuff. So... But I think it might have been bad to start with Muppets from Space, which is like a 25-year-old movie that is like kind of one of the less liked Muppets movies from what I gather.
Yeah. I mean,
so
that was the point. We seeked out the worst rated Muppet movie because I did so much Muppet content and stuff, and we didn't... And then we reviewed the movie that came out. I suppose if we would have done this format with like Wicked or Beetlejuice.
It would have done better if we did like more recent movies the way we did that one.
Yeah.
Then people would click on it and they'd be like, okay, so it's just like reviews for the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think very many people are looking for reviews from Muppets from Space or for that.
I don't think... I mean, I feel like this could have been a good video if it wasn't a podcast. Like, if this was just a normal video and I trimmed out all the fat and filler and we did, like, my review, Ethan's review, and then we went over Letterboxd reviews, I feel like that could have been a good video as well. I feel like in the future, whenever I transition into more of a movie-centric channel and talk about either modern movies or old movies that people really like, then I think this is possibly a good format to use one day.
I'm not trying to jump too far ahead, but I definitely think some of the things we did in other Dawg Talk episodes are like really good ideas for series, like
for sure
things to do on your channel, but probably not in a podcast format.
No, I think that was the issue of why people weren't watching, because they were like, oh wow, this is a cool idea, but it's like, why are we talking about it for an hour, you know?
Yeah, it needs to be something kind of on like the Hunger Games level.
Yes.
Some of these ideas we had. The next one we went back to Poodawg. I think we did this because we were waiting for Creature Quest to come out.
Yeah, so that's why we had,
So-
I think, the little buffer with the Muppet one.
Creature Quest came out, and we made the episode about that. And I think that one was just kind of a... I don't know. I guess people didn't like this one.
This one, also, another issue with this one, was we filmed this on, like, the week we were moving into college, I believe. Like, we watched a not uploaded version of this movie, and, like, we watched it on Discord together, and then we just talked about Creature Quest. And I don't know. I think this is a good video. I think all of these videos where we describe like the behind the scenes and stuff of it are good ideas for sure. But it's just the issue of that people maybe don't want to watch a whole podcast on that, you know?
Yeah, I think Creature Quest itself, it did pretty good, but how many people are really gonna watch a 30 almost 40-minute?
It's an hour almost.
Short. Well, I'm talking about just
Creature
itself.
Quest.
Like
Yeah, it's 40
how
minutes.
many people are gonna go watch a 40-minute short film and then after be like, oh boy, I can't wait to watch the hour-long podcast talking about the short film I just watched.
Yeah.
Like, I think that might just be the issue, is that it was just too new.
Mm-hmm. Because we did post this the day.
Back-to-back.
Yeah, we posted Creature Quest, and then the next day we posted this.
So it might have just been like too new. People were like, it was saturated.
Yeah.
We probably could have waited another week. And
I think
people
so.
would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
The next week was Would You Rather, which I guess we asked like movie related questions, but we could have done anything else.
Yeah.
Like,
well, okay, well the reason, we're not going to lie, the reason we did this was because our whole time we did we did Dawg Talk and stuff is because we copied Chuckle's Sandwich.
and they love Would You Rather.
They love doing Would You Rather, and those get millions of views. So we were like, oh, well, we'll do a Would You Rather. Maybe people will like it. But apparently, people didn't because it got 43 views. And I guess the fan base I have curated, they don't care about Would You Rathers.
I also think partially the issue was that at this time when we were doing Dawg Talk, like, kind of when we get later, we stopped doing this. But at this time, we were like, every episode needs to have, like, a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, we probably could have just talked.
We
for
could.
this
And now
episode.
I'm looking through the chapters of this. We do Would You Rathers. However, intermingled between, like, there we go on a big college yap at the beginning. And then we do Would You Rathers. Then we talk about Fortnite. Then we do more Would You Rathers. Then we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. And then we do more Would You Rathers. And then we talk about the Christopher Bombhead story. So, like, we wanted to branch out and just talk for, like, an hour. But, like, we just were too scared because we thought everything needed a gimmick, which apparently it didn't. Because people didn't like the gimmick ones as much as they liked, like, the normal ones.
Yeah. And then the next one is, like, I think it's probably the biggest commitment to any gimmick. We did an entire episode where it was, like, we had a, like, spin wheel with, like, randomly assigned characters and stuff. And then we, like, created movies, or, like, I guess just, like, little elevator pitches of movies based on these little gimmicks, which is a really cool idea, but not as a podcast. This is what I was talking about. Like, we kind of were too ambitious. This could have been like a Hunger Games level thing where you get like a group of 4 and we do this and we're like all just like, whoa,
and we pitch a movie. I think that would be a good idea. We'll put that into the pile of videos that I could possibly make whenever I turn into a movie centric channel. We'll do this. Will probably be a later one though, once we get like more of a fan base that likes us, you know.
I just think as a podcast, like, I don't think people click onto a podcast to hear you be like, yeah, so let's make The Rock go to elementary school with the Nightmare on Elm Street guy.
Well, now it does have 35 views, so I don't know what's specific. I think the reason is because it had Mr. Beast and Goku on the thumbnail. People were like, "What the hell is that?" I thought that would be a good thing, but apparently it wasn't. But also, if you actually click on the video, which these 35 people clearly did, you have Ethan can't integrate by parts. We talk about college people, the TikTok ban, little Instagram monkeys, and X and naturally gifted people. And then we say who's the best person ever, and then we actually start playing the game at 15 minutes in.
Yeah, that's a big mistake.
So like, why do we do a gimmick episode?
We should have played the game and then talked after.
Like, that's what I think. This episode's going pretty well, knock on wood, you know. But I think because we kind of did it the same way as we did the first episode of Dawg Talk ever, where not ever, but like of season 2, where we just kind of jumped into it. We didn't try to talk about, oh yeah, what's Elon Musk doing right now? No, we just talked about like this.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a mistake. Is we would no matter what, we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a would you rather. We would still yap at the beginning, and then we'd be like, okay, now let's open it up. Which is bad if you're putting on the thumbnail and the title like, oh, we're doing this gimmick, and then they have to wait like 20 minutes to hear the gimmick.
Yeah, like, and I suppose they can cut to the gimmick, but then still, that's not what we want. We want them to be intrigued in like the actual video, you know.
And also, I feel like most people aren't going to skip to a gimmick. They're going to click on a video and be like, this is not what I clicked on, and click off.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. They're not even going to try to look into it. But the next one, episode 7, we did not have a gimmick. We talked about the Minecraft movie at one point, so I put it on the thumbnail because that was like the hottest thing at that point. And then apparently it paid off because this one did get more views than the last one. So we're currently on a incline right now as far as the Dawg Talk history goes. But this was also the first podcast I uploaded after I quit. I said I was going to quit YouTube. So I don't know if that had something to do with it as well.
Maybe, but I feel like it was probably mostly the Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
On the thumbnail, because the Minecraft movie was like announced, and then we kind of got on that quick, and so people probably saw like Jack Black or like, wait, let me see what they have to say.
Well, we talked about the Minecraft movie 30 minutes in. So.
True.
Yeah, we did, Why Did Poodawg3 Quit? Rain, Rain, Go Away. You talking about your open-ended book you had to read. Your love for Jake Gyllenhaal. Poodawg Movie All-Stars. Letterboxd. Roadhouse. Pharrell Williams. And then we get on Minecraft.
Movies. So we're just talking about like random movies.
We're talking about random stuff and movies. So this is the first episode, like we said before, where we just yap for like an hour. And
the viewers liked it. It was the best episode by like views since like the second episode.
Yeah, the second episode got 77, and then this one got 61 at the time of recording this one.
So, I mean,
however, we didn't learn our lesson for episode 8 because episode 8 we went back to the gimmicks. And apparently there was you messed up your audio in this one because I'm looking at it. There's a disclaimer that says for normal audio, skip to 2442.
So I remember this. Mm-hmm. Apparently my microphone, I was foolish and I had it like all the way across my desk, so it's far away from me. So I was quiet, and then I kept doing like this.
Like going in and out, like far.
No, I just made the noises again, so you'll hear it when you're editing. It doesn't pick up on Discord, but I just made the noises again, and that's what I was doing for like the entire thing for a bit. I guess I was fidgety. Mm-hmm. So it was loud, and you couldn't really hear me. And then we were also doing a bit, which was we must rank every state flag.
Yeah,
which that doesn't really appeal to the viewer base of Dawg Talk, which is we were kind of building movies, or the viewer base of Poodawg. I mean, he made a video where he ranks welcome signs.
Well, now the whole reason we did this one, Ethan, you can't stray too far away.
I wanted to do it.
He wanted to do it because he saw me rank every state welcome sign, and he said, "Well, why didn't you rank the flags?" And I said, because I didn't want to rank the flags. And he was like, well, I want to rank the flags, so we ranked the flags on Dawg Talk.
Yeah, I thought the flags were way more important than the signs, so I was like, you gotta rank them too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this was the best little like game bit thing we did on Dawg Talk.
Do you?
For like a podcast.
Do you?
I think so. I don't think the viewers think so, but I think it because what a ranking video is long, and it's just, oh, well, my opinion on this is this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, my opinion on this is this.
Yeah.
We will come to a consensus and put it at C, which is, it's a little bit more visual, but I think it works, but I also don't think it fits with Dawg Talk.
No, it doesn't. I don't know. For me personally, I get what you're saying of like, it's already kind of a podcast, but in hindsight, I feel like doing this as a podcast just like isn't the best idea. You know?
It should have been a regular video.
We should have just made this a normal video, but the reason we didn't do that was because at the time I was doing like, I think this was like my second tier list I did in like the past like week. And then I did another one as my next video. It was horrible timing on like the planning.
It was also like around midterms.
It was. I think so, yeah. Well, this is September 16th, 2024. We uploaded that one. I don't know.
The next one was Beetlejuice review.
This is where we went back into, we did kind of a combination of the yapping, where we also just kind of talked about the Beetlejuice movie for the whole time until we got to the end when we started talking about Marvel.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's another issue with this season Dawg Talk is we ended up, maybe it's just because we were talking too much about like the same stuff.
Yeah.
We would constantly just have this cycle where we would talk about, oh dude, Disney, they keep making these remakes. It's so lazy, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They should, I wish they would do different stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would be like, oh yeah, AI is kind of crazy. What's up with that?
We talk about AI almost every episode. We talk about Marvel almost every episode. We talk about Disney remakes every episode. We just talk about superhero movies in general almost like every episode. And it's, unless we had a gimmick, we really couldn't get around that because we just start talking about that and then we have like a full-on conversation about it.
Which is not what we needed to do to have an interesting podcast.
And I think the Beetlejuice one works well. No matter if you disregard the views, I think it works well just because we kind of we quickly get to the point of talking about Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Even though we drag off at the end about like other stuff, but like we talk about Beetlejuice, we discuss the characters, we see how it's compared to the original and stuff. And I think this is like a better version of what we did with the Muppet video. And instead of the Marvel part at the end, we maybe could have done the Letterboxd reviews part. And then it would have been like a perfect episode, in my opinion.
This video also did equal in views to the second episode of Dawg Talk ever.
It did.
So far, it's like, I guess, second or third place
Mm-hmm.
of Dawg Talks.
So, I don't know. Also, this was the time when I guess I was getting bored with the editing process. And I thought our commentary was boring or whatever. Because in the last episode, I think I added the music because Ethan had weird audio, so I added in background music of like Animal Crossing, a playlist I found like online, and I linked to it in the description. And then in this one, I did like an autumn Animal Crossing playlist. So like I don't know. And then I asked in the comments, what did you guys think about the music? And then Black and Yellow Productions responds with 3 laughing till crying emojis. So it's really hard to gauge what you guys think. It's really hard when you don't respond seriously, and I'm trying to make big changes to my channel.
Bro, that the 3 laughing while crying emoji just made me have like a coughing fit, bro. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I
What
really
could
don't
that
know.
possibly? Does that mean he thinks it's humorous that you put music? Does that mean he likes the music?
Well, I think he just didn't feel like responding, but he saw the comment, and for some reason, a guilt thing went off in his head, and he was like, "Oh, I should respond to this." But then he was like, "Would it be funny if I responded like this?" I don't know. But the next episode surprised me with the amount of people that actually wanted to watch this one because this one also did really well. And this is the episode where we had our only guest so far of the season at that point, which was Lag Soda, aka Ethan's roommate that we'd always talk about.
The Brayden episode.
Yes.
I'm surprised this episode did so good. Maybe it's because the Beetlejuice episode did good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's strange.
I don't know. Bill
But-
Nye's on the thumbnail. I didn't know he was that popular.
Maybe it's just a grappling thumbnail. Or maybe people who like science watch your channel sometimes, but they saw that and they were like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I got a lot of scientist viewers. Comment down below if you're a scientist viewer. But you're not. It's going to be the typical, like, 3 people. So, hey, guys, what's up? I don't know. I thought this one also had a gimmick. And this is when, episode 10, we were trying to fizzle out the gimmick ones. But this gimmick was kind of interesting because it was us two getting judged on, like, a kind of a game. You know?
Yeah, it had a gimmick, but the gimmick worked with the format of it because it was Brayden asking us like, "Oh, so what is this concept? What does this mean?"
Yeah.
And, like if you don't have a concept, it would just be like, a gimmick. It would just be like me going, "Oh, I think it means this," and then you would say, "Yeah, that might be what it is. I don't know," and then Brayden would say, "Actually, guys, it means this," and that would be like the episode.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think also Brayden really liked some of the things that he talked about. So he was able to like explain it to the viewers. Don't know if you guys were interested in that or not, but it's according to the views, you seem to be. I don't know. I feel like you can't judge the views because those are the people that clicked on the video. We don't know how long they watched. All of these podcasts have like a viewer duration of like 6 to 10 minutes. So we don't really know how long people actually watched. But I think we should just start judging these on like what we actually thought of the episodes.
And not the views.
Yeah, not the views, because like it's so hard to gauge that thing. The views honestly just matter for like the thumbnail. So like I guess that thumbnail was good, I guess.
I don't know. I think the Brayden episode was good. I think it was good.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, the Joker 2 one, we did not watch Joker 2. Neither one of us.
Still to this day.
Have not watched
To this
it.
day, we haven't watched Joker 2.
Why are we talking about it?
I don't, just because it was popular, and I think we tried to do the same thing we did in Beetlejuice and Minecraft. But Minecraft, they were speculating, and Beetlejuice, they were, people were reviewing, so that's why those two worked out. Joker, we weren't reviewing, we were speculating, like a week after the movie came out, and people already said it was bad.
We also were just talking about random stuff, and Joker is like 40 minutes into this, and then we talk about Marvel again.
Then we talk about Marvel.
For like 20 minutes.
We talk about Marvel from the 53-minute mark to the 1 hour and 14-minute mark. That's crazy.
Yeah. We talked about so much random stuff. We also had like a little. It's like a what is it called? Whenever a foreshadowing to the Forrest Goblin winning.
We
Forrest
did.
Goblin goes Hollywood.
This is the first sign of an ongoing plot point that happens throughout of this season of Dawg Talk. This is where I say Forrest Goblin goes Hollywood. This is the episode where I announced that I submitted it to a film festival, and I was like, it's not gonna win, I bet. But just remember that for later in this episode when we talk about future episodes.
Why do we talk about Marvel so much in these? That's
that's
so
like what
stupid.
movies you like, man.
I guess.
That's what we discovered from the episode, like a few episodes from now, episode 14. We discovered that you don't know a lot of movies, and it probably was a big issue that we had a movie podcast together. Which
the
isn't your
next-
fault. You're not like a film major or anything. You're like a... What's your major again? For all the
I'm
viewers?
a biological engineering major.
Yeah, and he does a movie podcast. Honestly, you just should be happy for him that he's actually doing the podcast and not just like, I don't want to do that. That's stupid.
I mean, I know a little bit about a little bit, but whenever you actually watch 10 movies from 2010, I'm gonna say I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, bro.
But the next episode apparently was the most viewed episode of Dawg Talk ever. And this is why earlier I was saying we can't talk about the views that much, because this one only got views because Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, and KSI were on the thumbnail. We had more people comment on this than usual. We had 2 other people comment that we usually don't have on this video. Like, I don't know who views the videos typically, because nobody ever comments besides like Black and Yellow Productions and Rajan. So, I don't know.
See, this episode is another one where we just talk about random stuff. We talk about Halloween candy and have a draft, which is another gimmick. We did that like 3 times in this episode, right?
We did the draft multiple times, like, this whole season. Like, that was a new thing we started where we just draft specific things. I think we did that in, like, episode, like, 19 or something, when we did the one with, are these films actually Christmas movies? I think that's where we did it as well. But we did it with Christmas music.
I think that we have a drink draft as well. It's just not labeled.
We do.
Draft.
It's just not labeled. I guess I got lazy.
AI right here for about, what is that, 10, 15 minutes of AI?
Yep. And, however, the Mr. Beast stuff does get talked about pretty early in like the 24-minute mark. So far, this is like the earliest we talk about the clickbait.
Yeah, we definitely should have talked about the Lunchly stuff sooner if we wanted our viewers to stay.
Yeah, I think that was the issue. Is we were like, oh, this is the main event for this episode. This is what we're gonna clickbait everybody with. But we'll talk about it at one point. We'll get to it.
Yeah, you need to clickbait whatever you talk about at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe that's something we got to figure out if we do a new podcast in 2025.
The next one, what is this when we start talking about The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see The Rock. And then
The Rock became a big plot point, a big reoccurring thing throughout all of it. We did talk about the Krabby Patty meal for a long time, though, because I actually had a story about this one.
Yeah, and then
This was just the food episode.
we talked about the Kai Cenat burger. Talked about the Krabby Patty burger.
Even though this video got 36 views, I think this one is one of the better ones. Because we genuinely did talk about just like food the whole episode. And that was the clickbait of the video was that we're talking about SpongeBob, Krabby Patty meal. And we talked about food for the whole episode. I think that this is one of the ones where we actually kind of nailed it. But it just didn't pay off because apparently people didn't care about the SpongeBob Krabby Patty meal.
Well, also, the SpongeBob, like, food doesn't really fit into the whole theme of
That's also
movie.
true. Movies. Yeah, we did movie. And then there was like, we couldn't think of anything movies related that week. So we just did, we'll do SpongeBob.
Yeah, I think that was probably the issue with this one, why we got 36 views.
Yeah.
Because also I think what happened was you had 225 random Lunchly viewers, and then it popped up to them. And they were like, wait, what is this? I don't want to watch this.
They're like, no, I actually don't care about the Krabby Patty thing. I want to hear about Mr. Beast's crypto scams. That's what I want to hear about.
But, I mean, I do think this was a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
This was the one where we talked about my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So, I think that got cut off early because
He had to, like,
behind-the-scenes
Yeah.
info. My mom was tweaking. She was like, Ethan, we must leave at this time.
Oh,
And
this is also the episode where you recorded your audio through your AirPods.
oh, so my audio is terrible.
Yeah, that's why it starts off with, it says, Ethan is evil. And then we just talk about stuff. Because this is where you went home and forgot your microphone. So episode 13, yeah, it's evil episode 13. Yeah.
Yeah, so my mom was like, we must leave this very second, like in the middle of us filming Dawg Talk. And so I was like, Emil, we can't talk about my YouTube channel anymore. We must end the pod.
And and we kind of just I somehow edited around it, and it just was I was like, okay, yeah, now it's time to end the podcast now. But I don't know.
We definitely could have had a good. I mean, it was an hour long, but we could have had an extra like 10 minutes.
Usually we go like an extra 10 minutes. Sometimes we'll go really long when we talk about Marvel or AI, but I don't know.
We could have talked way more, but we didn't do it.
I'm gonna take a quick pit stop real quick. I'm gonna look at all the episodes that are uploaded right now, because I don't know if we've told you. I think we told you guys in episode 19, but this is the weekend where we're recording like 4 episodes in a row because I'm going to like Disney World for a week. And I think as of right now, when we're recording this, the longest episode of Dawg Talk is the ranking every state flag video, which makes sense.
Yeah, that one's pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, dude.
Which one?
Who Would Win is 3 minutes longer than ranking every state flag.
Where's Who Would Win?
The Goku one.
You're actually so right. Yeah, I didn't see that. Mm-hmm. I guess I was afraid to look at Goku, but yeah, Who Would Win is longer. And honestly, the length of the video, we used to think like mattered a lot. It doesn't matter. People are either gonna watch the podcast or they're not.
All that matters is that we talk about something interesting.
Yeah, if we don't talk about something interesting, then people aren't gonna watch. People aren't gonna care, and then we're gonna just be talking to nothing. And that's, I think, an issue that we hadn't figured out until we've experienced running a consistent podcast. You know?
Yeah, I think we get it now. It's just you talk, and then whenever you're like, all right, I think we talked enough, you just wrap it up.
Usually I start trying to wrap it up around like the 45-minute mark. I think there was another issue with Dawg Talk season 1 is we'd run out of interview questions like really, really early, but then we'd have this mindset of like, oh, we need to end the podcast at like an hour. But like we didn't. We absolutely didn't need to do that.
We should have just, because that's the big issue with the first season was we had a lot of blank space, which means we didn't need to be there.
Yeah. I do think
we can't talk.
In like honestly from an objective point of view, I do think that we did get better over time because me as an editor had to cut out less footage. Like I'm sure some of these earlier ones where we talk about the Poodawg movies or the Muppets from Space were probably longer than the Mr. Beast Goku one. However, it didn't like I cut some stuff out because we just were very quiet for points, and then we'd be like, I don't really know what to talk about. I don't really know.
Guys, what do we do?
Yeah.
I've run out of things in my head to think about.
I don't know. I've heard somewhere on like somebody's podcast that they say around episode 20 is when you start to figure it out. Well, we made it to 22 episodes. So, I think we figured it out maybe. Hopefully. Because we do want to have another podcast in 2025 unrelated to Dawg Talk. But we don't know if we're doing it yet. It's in the woodworks, in the pipeline, and we don't know. However, if we do an episode in season 3 of Dawg Talk or whatever, if it's a new podcast or whatever, we will not be doing one where Ethan has to sit down and name 50 movies, 5 from each year. We will not be doing that.
The next episode on the list.
Yeah.
This had to be like torture for any. Like I watched this and I thought it was kind of interesting, but I watched it like 2 or 3 weeks after it came out because I'm. For those who don't know, my memory is pretty bad, so I can go back and watch these episodes, and it's like, oh, this is interesting because I don't actually remember what we talked about.
Yeah.
So I went back through and I watched this, and I thought it was interesting, but I thought it was interesting because it was me. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if anyone else on Earth were to watch this, they'd be like, dude, why do I care if Ethan can name 55 movies?
I suppose it would have been a little more interesting if we had, like, me, you, Rajan, and, like, Zach on the podcast or something. And Zach and Rajan were, like, making fun of you. And, like, dude, you suck at this. Or they were playing along with you and all three of you were trying to name 5 movies.
But then instead, it was just quicker. Me naming movies and me, like, sadly being like, I don't know, man. What came out in 2014?
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, there's so many movies.
Yeah, because I had access to every movie ever, and then you had access to 0, so you were like, I don't know what movie
you were like, there's so many movies, dude, I swear. And I was just like, I don't know these movies.
Yeah. That wasn't a good idea.
I do think if we would have had a few more people there, it would have been maybe more interesting.
Because then it wouldn't just look like I was just, like, torturing Ethan for, like, from the 12-minute mark to the 1-hour mark. Yeah.
What did we do before 12 minutes? Did we really talk about
talked
other
about
stuff as well?
Your laptop that broke, the guy who was sleeping in the study room, which I put a little picture of a monkey on, and then a gift. Oh, your time capsule. And then we did the game.
Another issue. We talk about all this random... No wonder this got 20 views. Someone clicked on and was, can you name 50 movies? And then they had to sit through 12 minutes of random stuff that they don't care about before they can get to the names of your movies. And then once they get there, it's Ethan Johnson being like, I don't know, I actually never watched a single movie in my life.
Yeah. It was not a good idea. One thing I do like about this episode, though, this is the first episode where I put the little Dawg Talk logo at the bottom, and then I did the little black bar with the title of the chapter. I like those. I don't know if you like those, but I like those. Enjoy those because I think it looks like I'm putting a little more effort into it besides just picture on the screen, you know?
I like this picture. My laptop is cooked.
Your laptop is cooked.
That was what it was broken on, like, for real.
Yeah. I like the study room snoozer guy. That one's silly.
Then the next one probably could have also been a separate video. It did not need to be a dog talk.
It did not.
This was talking about your experience working as, like, a haunted house guy. Which is interesting, but I think talking about it on Dawg Talk, especially because we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 6 sections before you actually talked about it, and it took us 20 minutes to get into actually talking about your haunted house. And then at the end, we talk about even less. We talk about more random other stuff.
Then we talk about your dog. This is one of 2 episodes where we talked about dogs. What do you mean, what is this?
Sandy Daniels 1 through 6 counted happy birthday Ethan Johnson.
Yeah, it was your birthday. This one I advertised on my Instagram, so a bunch of people like went go check this one out. I say a bunch of people, but it only got 41 views.
41.
But I think the 41 views were all from like Instagram. I'll be honest.
I think this one would have been better if you did it like your Sam Raimi video.
Yeah, like my experience as a scare actor. And then it was like a 10-minute video where I was like, guys, do not harass the people in the haunted houses. They're just people in college. Don't be mean to them.
And it probably would have been better like from a YouTube video standpoint and also for a whenever you are old and wrinkly and you go back to look at it, it's just you can see your like what it was like working there. You can see what you thought instead of having to sit through 20 minutes of Ethan Johnson talking about random things.
I think another
like, all right, finally.
Another big issue with Dawg Talk season 2 was Dawg Talk season 2 was happening at the same time as my like retirement tour thing where I was experimenting with a new style of video like every week. And so another issue was that I'd be like, oh, we're going to talk about this on Dawg Talk, so we can't talk about it in a normal video. So I think a solution possibly could be that we don't have the like next podcast we do next season 3 or whatever about the same topic as the rest of the channel. You know, like maybe we make a different channel about it entirely.
Yeah, especially because some of these topics would have, well, honestly, at least half of these episodes so far would have been better as like a completely different standalone series or something.
Let's see which ones we said that about. I feel like the podcast episode about the podcast is fine as a podcast. The hardest scenes also is good as a podcast. Muppet one, that's one. Would you rather? Probably, that's 2. 3 would probably be the movie maker one. 4 would be ranking state flags. 5 would possibly be Krabby Patty one. And then 6 would be probably name 50 movies. And then 7 could be my experience as a scare actor. So that is half. That is that is like almost exactly half. Yeah.
Which is
crazy.
Like, we definitely could have just had more regular videos and done Dawg Talk as exclusively just a Ethan Johnson and Poodawg3 and whoever else just talks about whatever is on their mind this week type of thing. Because that's what we end up doing anyways. Even when we have a specific thing, instead of focusing solely on that specific thing, what we really wanted to do was just talk about whatever was on our mind.
Yeah, same issue kind of happened with Poodawg Plus, but that's a story for another day.
Like we would just kind of, instead of focusing on, oh, so today we're doing, you know, we're doing the science fact. Well, that might be the worst example. We're doing the Beetlejuice overview. We talk about Beetlejuice, but we also talk about random other stuff like Marvel and like Absolute Doom, Fortnite.
Like, why is that what we start off the Beetlejuice podcast with?
Like, that doesn't really fit. And I think that's just because it was, oh, dude, let's talk about whatever we are thinking about talking about, and then eventually we will get to Beetlejuice, which, no.
Nah, Beetlejuice also I don't think is a good example of that, because that's like chapter 2, which at 2 minutes that appears. I think a better example of that is like the Joker or Minecraft, because those we don't talk about the things that are on the thumbnail for a while. And that's the biggest issue. And I think another big issue is that we were so worried every time we'd hop into this. What are we going to talk about that's like season 1, we didn't have a plan. Season 2, we had too much of a plan at points. But then there were some episodes where we didn't have a plan, and those kind of went well. But, like, if you have concepts of a plan, that's a phrase that's tossed around nowadays. I think having concepts of a plan for a podcast works out pretty well. And if you talk about, like, the topic that is on the thumbnail, we want to talk about Ethan Johnson's hatred of this guy who sleeps in the study room, and we want to do that for a whole episode. I suppose we could do it for a whole episode, but that topic alone better be able to carry like the whole video from the thumbnail to the thing, you know?
I think the method, if we would ever do more Dawg Talk, like how we have Dawg Talk right now, is to have a like loose criteria of here's some general topics we could talk about, and if we don't cover them all, it is okay. But that's for okay, so we should probably try and talk about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Or stuff in this category. But if we can't get to it all, that's okay. We don't have to try and like force it to be like, oh, dude, wait. We just spent 30 minutes talking about the first 2 things, and we have 7 more things on this list. We must now touch every single one and talk about them all and have a 2-hour podcast. No,
yeah.
We just talk until we think we're good. And if we don't hit it all, okay. And if we do go off topic, that's fine as well, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, going back to like the second episode when we talked about the Poodawg3 movies, there was a section where we talked about young Sheldon for some reason.
Which doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. I don't know. And then of course we don't even need to go over the next one. Sorry for big fans of episode 16. We talked about more Disney sequels.
Actually, it starts off with about like 10 minutes of Fortnite.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, and then we talk about
so on the movie podcast.
I hate cliffhangers for about 15 minutes. I talk about how I hate cliffhangers.
So on the movie podcast, we in the episode that we genuinely talk about movies, we started off with a video game. That's great.
10 minutes of talking about Fortnite news.
Then we talk about Invincible for like 2 seconds. And then we talk about how you hate cliffhangers and how
I hate sequels.
Now we both hate sequels that are unnecessary, and then Disney's problem with remakes. And then we talk about Jurassic World. Then we talk about the Monsterverse real quick, but I don't really know much about that. And then I talk about Poodawg Plus until the episode's over.
I mean,
which Poodawg Plus is fine, but like, because that's at the end. Also, I feel like if we want to go off topic after we've talked about the topic at hand.
Yeah, why did we start off talking about Fortnite?
I don't know.
We're like, Absolute Doom. Actually, no, Absolute Doom was over when we were talking about this.
We were talking about Fortnite OG coming back, which is like a thing now. Like, I broke the news to you then, I believe.
I don't understand why that was the first thing we talked about.
Had to break the news to you.
And then we got into to actually talk about movies. This is probably the best like movie oriented one because it seems like for most of it we talk about movies.
Mm-hmm.
But also we're talking about like Disney and the Disney problem where they want to make sequels and they don't do cool stuff. They just want to make sequels.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think we talked about before.
We talk about that like every single episode, which is like a big problem. So at this point, I think the issue with Dawg Talk is that we were so scatterbrained throughout the entire season. Anybody who's like had interest is like they've checked out, or like people who are still interested, we have them, but like anybody else, they're kind of checked out because we don't even know what we're doing at this point.
The only people who we have kept that are interested don't actually care about Dawg Talk. They care about like Poodawg3, the guy.
Yeah, and just learning about what's he up to, you know.
They don't actually care about Dawg Talk. They're just your fans that watch anything you make, and so they're like, okay, let me see what he made.
And I think this next one, which is my first film festival, we have the structure down pretty well. But this was also the in real life one that we recorded at like midnight.
Yeah, we were like genuinely tweaking.
I cut out so much footage from this one where we were just genuinely tweaking. But we have as the thumbnail the Forest Goblin going to the award show, which is what we set up earlier in the season. And it actually went to the award show. This was before we got the award, which if we would have known the future and known that we would have got the award, then we probably could have just did this whole episode about going to a film festival and then winning, instead of like partially in the Wicked episode we're like, guys, we actually won, you know, that film festival we were talking about last time. And then we start talking about in the Wicked one we start talking about just like, gosh, well, how did Poodawg3 evolve as a channel? And then we get to Wicked, and then we stop talking about Wicked. Like, I don't know.
Also, why did we even talk about Wicked? Have you seen Wicked? I know I have not seen Wicked.
I've seen Wicked. I saw Wicked. You didn't see Wicked. That was the whole thing with it.
Also, we talk about it for literally like 4 minutes.
We do. We talk about Wicked from the 28-minute mark to the 35-minute mark.
We talk about a very mundane Christmas longer than we talk about Wicked.
This is true.
Like, what is this?
I think also if people were watching, they probably didn't have much urgency to watch the actual podcast because we kept saying, well, guys, there's not going to be a season 3. There's not going to be, it's over. We're ending the podcast in a few weeks. So like, I don't know. We weren't doing anything like spectacular. That's why I think these last few episodes we kind of just are having fun with. Like we did the Christmas one. But then the Christmas one, I think that one went pretty well. We talked about how we missed the upload, which is crazy work.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Christmas a lot in this one, which is a good thing. And then in the next one, this is where we kind of just gave up. And Ethan was like, what are we going to do? We had to record 4 videos in 1 week. And I'm like, dude, ain't nobody watching this anyway. Let's just have fun on these last 3. So
okay, so let me give you guys a timeline. So episode 19. We filmed that on like the day before it released on the Tuesday. It released on a Wednesday.
So we filmed it on December 3rd.
We had a busy. I think we touched on that in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
So then 2 days later on Thursday, we're like, all right, time to record the next episode of Dawg Talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were kind of tweaky. We were like, dude, nothing has happened since the last time we talked.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's talk about animal. Because before we filmed, I was like in my bed because I woke up and I was like, oh, I gotta film Dawg Talk. So I called him, and I was like, Braden, what should we talk about? Should we talk about animal facts? I was like, the Labrador Retriever is a great dog. And I was like, you know what? Let's talk about that. And then we actually
talked about animal. We actually talked about dogs and then eventually animals for the entire podcast. Don't know how we did it still. And then now we're filming this the Sunday after we filmed that, which is the December 8th, which is before episode 21. We're recording episode 21 after this. And I don't know what happens in episode 21 because we didn't do it. But episode 22 I think went well. And this is coming out at like the end of the month.
Also, episode 21 is going to be our second ever guest episode.
Yeah, in season 2. I'm kind of happy that we kept it to only 2 guests per this season. But if people like the guest, then sucks for them, I guess.
I mean, also, this is my hot take. I don't think very many people, you have a few reoccurring viewers, but I think on average the viewers of Dawg Talk are random victims of the algorithm.
Yeah, poor guys.
So they probably wouldn't even know oh dude, I love guests versus I don't love guests. It would just be up to what does Black and Yellow Productions and Rajan Awashti think? Do they like just me and you talking, or do they like when Braden joins?
And it really doesn't help when we have those two as our only viewers that we know are consistent, and because they comment. That's the only reason, guys, by the way, we've been calling those two out this entire episode, is because we know that they're here because they comment. If everyone who watched it would comment, then I would be like, okay, well, all of these people are reoccurring viewers. I can't judge. I don't know who watches my videos, specifically. That's not public information. So I don't know who's coming back, or YouTube, I guess, can tell you, oh yeah, you have this many returning viewers, which apparently YouTube's told me that I have 200 recurring viewers. But they must hate also, Dawg Talk.
That doesn't really mean anything. It could those reoccurring viewers. Okay, how long are they watching? The video has an average view time of 5 minutes. So do these reoccurring viewers click on it and see the intro and click off?
Yeah.
Are they watching the whole thing? Do they like it? Do they not like it?
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean? Commenting is the only way for us to really know, are we doing this right? Are we doing this wrong?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you made a community post one time, and that was do you guys like when we yap, or do you guys like when we just do these little goofy games? And Black and Yellow Productions said he does not like the games, right?
So we had to judge the entire season off of that. I think another issue is with us doing a podcast in general is trying to please the fans when there is no real fans. You know? I mean, yeah. I'm not saying that people hate the show, but it's that season 1 we were worried about what we wanted to do and what we thought was interesting. And that was the strong point of season 1. However, it was a bad part in actuality because we were just talking about literally nothing, so no one would want to watch that. Season 2 we hopped all over the place because we were trying to appease the fans. I think if we do a season 3 or we do a new one, we have to have a plan going in, and then at least for that whole like season or first batch of episodes, we have a plan and we stick to it no matter what. Because if one episode fails and gets 5 views, who the hell cares? We can always get 20 views on the next one.
It's also more beneficial in the long run, I feel, to stick to like one consistent theme or one consistent plan rather than pinballing to like random trends, because in 1 month those random trends will not be existent anymore.
However, if we talk about things that aren't really trendy but things that a lot of people are interested in, then we might be able to hit a few people that like that niche, and then we only have those people for a little bit. Over time, maybe the YouTube algorithm will do its job and it will attract more people with that niche, and then they'll say, oh wow, I really like these people, and then eventually we'll build it up. We don't think that far ahead when we plan things, and I think we need to start planning things instead of just leaping and then looking. We need to look before we leap, which is what this whole reboot of Poodawg3 is trying to do. I've kind of just looked at the age of 13, said, yeah, that'll work, and just been leaping ever since. Like, that's what happened.
I don't know, this may be too, like, premature, but I do think we are going to be on a break from any podcast for, like, a good half a year. I think after this episode comes out. We might come back with Dawg Talk, but probably won't, because I don't think Poodawg... I think
that's the point.
The Poodawg brand will be removed.
If the Poodawg brand
probably be changed to like a meal talk or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the future holds for Dawg Talk.
Or maybe we'll just do a completely different podcast. Maybe we'll just have we'll focus more on some different theme or something else. But I don't think after the break of Dawg Talk, I don't think it'll come back and be exactly like how this season of Dawg Talk was, or
the first one, for that matter. Yeah,
I think it'll be kind of a new thing.
Yeah. I don't think that. I think this is the series finale. I don't think there will ever be a Dawg Talk ever again, and there never will be as long as we don't do it, because nobody can harness the idiot brains of one Ethan Johnson and Poodawg3.
I mean, that is unless on the comments of this video we have 1 million loyal fans that decide that they're like, I've never commented before because I was too nervous, but I love Dawg Talk, and I would be so displeased if it were to end. But I have a sly feeling that this will not happen.
And even if it would, we'd be going back on our word, and I really think we need to stick to something for once.
That is true.
If we're ending Poodawg3, we gotta end Poodawg3, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, should we talk about the Poodawg3 ending thing as well, or nah?
They should know it. If they've watched this far into the season, they should know it.
Okay.
But, I mean, if you don't know what this means for Poodawg3,
watch the doggies.
Wait till the end of the week. Coming out this Friday is the doggies. Who knows? Just because I might post it on Christmas Day if it's finished, but if anything, it's getting uploaded December 27th, 2024, probably around 7 o'clock-ish. So, if you don't know what's happening,
what's going on,
watch that.
Watch the doggies.
Or go watch the video I made last week about me ranking every single Poodawg3 video ever. I'm sure I explained it very thoroughly in that. But, yeah, we don't know what the future holds, and we really don't want to go back on our word because we've never been able to stick to anything, and I think it's about time we finally stick to something. Ethan, would you like to give your final outro of Dawg Talk ever?
Hey, man, this is a lot of pressure. I'm going to say, for the final episode, I'm gonna offer the viewers a proposition. I want you guys to create the outro in the comments.
Ooh. Okay.
So I want you guys to create what you think the best outro possible could have been. And that's gonna be the outro for today. Stay dogging and stay talking. See you guys in the next Poodawg video.
Yeah, see you guys at the doggies, and have a very Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. If you celebrate nothing, have a good day. We'll see you guys at one point in the future.
Farewell.
Bye forever.
Get out!